Is this what you want with Matt and Julia? Is this what you want with Matt and Julia? Is this what you want with Matt
Hello,
and Julia?
everybody. It's the podcast that comes out whenever the hell it wants, wherever it wants, however it wants. It's the podcast that sneaks up on you when it stops, just like Easter, because that kind of just comes out of nowhere. And this is that podcast. Welcome to Is This What You Want? I'm one of the hosts. My name is Matt O'Brien. Across from me is the other host, because there's two, Julia Ladkowitz.
Oh, hi, Matt.
Hi.
How are you?
We're back again.
We are back again.
How long has it been? 3 weeks? 4 months?
No, it's been it's been two. We've missed 2 episodes.
Damn right. I don't know how people do it. Again, it's we could have tried something. Could have done like a Zoom recording. I don't know. It's just too much.
It's a lot. I mean, part of this is sitting down together, and I don't like Zooming. I'm sick of Zoom.
No, Zoom sucks. And Zoom's very prevalent still. People are still using it for many things.
Yeah, and I'm over it. I crave that face-to-face connection.
Yeah, you want to feel the hot breath of a stranger on the back of your neck.
Well, you're not a stranger.
Yeah.
Not yet.
I could be. How long would it take for me to be a stranger to you? How long do you think?
It would be like hundreds of years because I would still remember you.
It would have to be hundreds. Even if we didn't see each other for 30 years and I saw you again, you would still be like, oh yeah, that was my husband.
Or even if I didn't recognize you and you're like, it's Matt, I'd be like, oh yeah, you.
Yeah. Maybe if my brain was transported or transferred into like a robot of sorts, like a RoboCop and my face was gone and it was just my brain, you'd be like, that is a stranger to me.
To me, but I'd still be like, I guess it still has Matt's brain. Or if I, like in that movie with Rachel McAdams where she gets in that car accident and forgets who Channing Tatum is, her
The
husband.
Notebook?
No. She doesn't get in an accident in The Notebook.
Doctor Strange?
No, she gets into some sort of like car accident. She wakes up and she doesn't like remember her life. And it's heartbreaking because Channing Tatum's her like current partner. And she's like, I don't know who you are, but she remembers her ex. And she wants to get back together with him.
Yeah.
And Channing Tatum's like, fuck. And he's very patient with her and they fall in love again and it's very cute.
I don't understand amnesia and how it's so selective for certain things. Like, there we go. Are you all right? What happened there?
I don't know. I had a little dry cough.
Are you going through amnesia right now?
Yes.
Forgot how to breathe? That's what I mean, because amnesia is like, oh, I forgot my husband. It's like, well, how did you forget that? And do you maybe not know how to use a toilet anymore or not know how to brush your teeth?
No, but it's also like people with Alzheimer's, like they'll remember certain things from their past, but not like what happened 4 minutes ago.
Motor skills, I think, are fine.
Well, but often no. But it depends on the person because we have a friend whose mom has Alzheimer's, early onset Alzheimer's, and yeah, her motor skills are affected. So it's very scary stuff.
Yeah. I wish I could get amnesia for like embarrassing things that happened to me as a child.
Yeah.
You know, like me bombing a joke at like the school play in grade 8. I want to forget that.
I like amnesia for like trauma. I think they have that.
I think we're just describing the
Shock
movie.
therapy?
Well, that and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Wasn't that the exact plot of that movie?
I saw that movie very high, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't know anything about it.
We all saw it high at our age. We all watched it high for some reason, and we all forget it.
I can't tell you what it's about in any
Jim
way,
Carrey
shape,
and
or form.
Kate Winslet. And yeah, he basically is like, I want to forget my ex, like remove my ex from my brain, kind of thing. So there you go.
There you go.
What if I get a surgery to remove how to use a toilet from my brain, and then you're just like, this is a fucking mess.
Yeah, and then I'd be like, hey, remove this man from my life.
Yeah, I guess that could be it. Anyway, we're back with another podcast. It's back again. It's the morning time because we did not want to record last night. So this is the morning of the Friday when the podcast will come out. So this is the closest you can get to a live podcast. Because
this is the freshest podcast. Fresh brewed podcast. Yeah, we were, speaking about high, we were a bit high last night. I got these weed pills.
No, but they're more than pills. They're like tablets. They look like something you get at like a hospital. Even the packaging is intense.
They look like antidepressants.
It kind of looks like fishing tackle as well.
Yes, like the package. The package is very small and intense. But they're supposed to be good for like focus and stuff. And I was like, I really struggle with that kind of stuff. And I'm currently, as you know, listeners, I've been going for this ADHD stuff, and it's still no fucking results. I actually got an email from the person. She's like, we're compiling everything and we should know soon. And they're going to be like, yeah, you're just an asshole or something. And I'll be like, great. Anyway,
I would hope that's not one of the result options. It's possible they're just an asshole. Just so you know, doctors working on this, they could just be an asshole.
You're just a dumb idiot asshole.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
I mean, some people need to be told that, but I don't think that's your diagnosis.
Well, anyway, so I got this. I was like, I need to do some like writing and some focus, and I waited till later on in the day, and I took it. I took a quarter of a full pill, which is barely anything. And I got some work done. I tell you, I got some work done, but then it just kept going, and I was
Did
like,
you go back to look at the work, and it's just pages of just...
Well, that's the thing. I actually have to proofread it this morning before I send it out, so we'll see. We shall see. The jury
It's
is
a whole
still out.
script about shredded cheese.
Yeah.
No one's going to read this.
But yeah, and then I gave you some of it, and then we were both gooned as loons.
Yeah, you gave me half of one, and I was zipped and zopped, and not like energetic, but just like grog. Even these edibles that are like, these are energetic and you'll be able to get work done. No. They just make me high.
See, I felt different. I felt articulate. I felt good, because sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm scared. But I was like, oh, I feel like a chatty amount of high.
No, I felt like...
If I can still be chatty, I know it's a good high.
I felt like somebody smeared my entire face with Vaseline, and I was just like... just like I'm not working on this with this feeling.
The best thing is, we made a salad that night, which is not necessarily like when you're high.
You know when you get high and make a salad?
We made this massive kale salad, but it's kind of nice because when you're high, you just want to keep eating and eating and eating. And I'm like, yeah, fill me up on this fucking kale. And it was so good.
I know, because kale does take a lot of chewing. So you're like, it feels nice to chew. I like chew. A teeth feeling when I'm high is very nice. I've always talked about brushing my teeth high, and that feels really good. But kale chewing's good. Maybe we're supposed to be goats. Maybe that's the whole thing. Because goats love chewing. Oh, they'll sit there and just chew, and that's just their teeth must feel nice.
But I have to be in a chewing mood, because sometimes I'm like, that's why I feel like McDonald's is so appealing, because it's just so soft. You can kind of just mash it in there.
A chewing mood.
So, sometimes I am just not in the mood for salad. I'm like,
You're in a
can't.
slurp mood?
I'm just in a fucking mash mood.
Yeah. When I get back from a long trip, I'm in like a soup mood. Like a ramen
Oh, yeah.
kind of thing.
I always want a ramen or a pho.
Anyone who says pho, you're saying it wrong.
You're saying it wrong.
How dare
Faux
you.
real. You're a
Pho,
fucking idiot.
no.
Anyway, I guess we're having a morning chap. We're having our coffee. So happy chappy hour.
Yep. No alcohol. No weed of any sorts. Just plain old coffee.
Plain old Kirkland coffee.
Is it Kirkland? It's a red bag that you get at Costco.
We've been purchasing it for
Don't know the name of
years.
it.
Don't know the name of it. It's not Kirkland brand.
No, it isn't. But it's
Some
there's
sort of Colombiano something or other.
yeah. When you go to Costco, there's a red bag and a green bag, and the green one's French roast.
Yes.
Something about the color red. You're just like, this is good base level. That color really is, and I think McDonald's has done it to us too, like red and yellow, where you're just like,
Yeah, because we're like bulls.
yeah, you're just like, I'm gonna run towards that with my mouth open. But when I see that red bag, something in my brain is comforted. I'm just like, yes, that's a trustworthy. I trust that red bag.
I know. I'm trying to like if it was like a yellow bag, I'd be like, what's going on?
There is a yellow bag, but it's like something nut.
Yeah,
and
it's
you're
a
just
nut.
like, bah.
I don't want nut in my. I used to love a nut coffee.
Yeah.
Like when I first started drinking coffee when I was like 18 or 16 or whatever the fuck.
Oh, you needed some sort of flavor in there. That's like French vanilla was my gateway. Like
My favorite latte at Starbucks was a hazelnut latte. Loved it.
Oh.
Ooh, I loved a hazelnut latte.
Caramel macchiato was my spoil myself. It's just so much sugar, man.
Oh God, it's a lot of sugar.
Searching for Sugarman, that was me. Just me sucking a caramel macchiato. Imagine that movie, that documentary ended with me. They're like searching for Sugarman. We found him, and it's just me sucking a caramel
Wait, is that
macchiato.
the one about the singer guy?
Yeah, that's poor over here, but very famous in South Africa.
Is his name Sugarman?
No, it was the name. One of his songs was Sugarman or something.
Is
I
that
forget
what
his
it's called? I thought it
name.
was called Searching for something else.
Searching for Sugarman. Searching for Sugarman. That could also be the alternative title to Willy Wonka's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Just if we're spitballing here.
Sure.
Speaking of spitballing, wait, we already did a chappy hour because it's. I'm tired, man. I had like a real deep one last night. I didn't get up for pee-pees or anything last night.
Usually Matt gets up 79 times for pee-pees.
No, only if I've been drinking beer. But no, last night was completely out. I pissed the bed several times so I wouldn't have to get up. That was nice.
Sick.
Yeah, sick man. But no, I had a real deep one.
I feel like so much has happened since we've last podcasted, and I think why don't we start with that was stupid, so we can end on something like so warm and fuzzy.
Yeah, I suppose we could. I don't even know
I got something.
Something stupid that happened in the last 2 fucking weeks.
Yeah. So everybody, buckle up because this is the segment. Well, that was stupid.
Well,
that
that
was
was
stupid.
Wow, you did a real intro for it.
I
Huh?
did. This happened a while ago, but it's still so stupid to me. I'll get to the warm and fuzzy part of it later, but we were in San Luis Obispo and doing shows. I was headlining. Matt was featuring for me, and goddamn, did we have a nice time! Like it was just lovely. We'll get into detail with that later. And one of the last shows was at this like speakeasy, and Matt killed. I killed. I did like an hour. I felt so good, and this drunk man comes up to both Matt and I. It's Matt and I and another comedian standing there. And he comes up to us and he looks at me and Matt and goes, "Hey, I'm not trying to be sexist," which is always a good start, "but I liked your husband better."
Yeah, and he kind of winced away, like he's like, "Oh, I'm being naughty."
And I was
then
like,
we
okay.
we all collectively were like, "Oh, like what the hell?" Like,
We're like, you didn't need to say that. And the other comic's like, just say good job and move on. Like,
yeah,
he's like, and then he didn't even like defend himself. He just sort of slinked away. I'm like,
he did. He slumped away because he was
What
so
the
embarrassed.
fuck?
But it's like, yeah, I don't know what the reaction he thought was going to be. Hey, I thought you were better than you,
like if
and then just stood there.
if I was like a male headliner and you were opening for me and you're like, "Hey, no offense, but I liked him better." It's what
That rarely ever happens. It's only because it's a man-woman thing.
but also
like-
saying I'm not trying to be sexist and then be sexist.
Very
like,
sexist. Yeah.
But it's just stupid. It was very stupid, and he was with this fucking hideous woman, and then hideous drunk woman comes up to me after and was like, "I loved you. I thought you were amazing." She's like, "You remind me of Amy Wong." She said Amy Wong, and I
Kinda
said
combining her female comedians.
combining Amy Schumer and Ali Wong, and I was just like, "Amy Wong?" I'm like, "You mean Ali Wong?" And then she goes, "That Asian bitch." She says that Asian bitch, and she does the eyes.
Yeah.
I was
it's,
I could not handle it then, and then I looked at the producers, and I was like, "Those two people can't come back here."
this is what we mean. We keep saying that LA is a bubble, and boy, is it's definitely is. You go at an hour outside of LA, and it's just the Wild West of anything goes. It's small town. It's the same as Toronto. You go, it's small towns outside of it. You're just like, these people, they're not.
And for the most
connected.
part,
They
a
don't know
lot of
what's
the
going
audiences
on.
were lovely and progressive. I'm going to say two more things about this. When it's like we literally landed in San Luis Obispo and went out for lunch at this little like shawarma place, which was delicious. And immediately upon sitting on the patio, there was these like kind of college bros sitting there, and I hear them say something about Andrew Tate. They reference Andrew Tate, and then they're like, "Actually, most domestic violence happens in lesbian relationships." And I'm like, okay.
Okay.
All right. But and I know we're saying that not everybody is like that there. We met some really wonderful people, and we went to this little wine bar called Jan's Place. And we sat down, and they were talking about Trump being indicted. And it was this weird standoff because we sat down, and I was like, and they're like, "How do you feel about that?" And we're like,
how do you feel?
How
about
do you
that?
feel about that? And they're like,
Because they were like, we're just talking about it. It's like, oh yeah, we're talking about it too. And they were like, how do you feel about it? How do you feel about it? And
they said something about, they're like, oh, maybe it's not good to talk about politics. And I literally said, should we leave? Because I'm like, oh my God, they're big Trump heads.
yeah.
But then they thought we were Trump heads.
I know. It was weird because they were like, we are excited that he's getting indicted. We're like, we're excited too. Damn it. Okay. There we go. It's a very weird time to be out there. Yeah. Also, in what universe do we look like we support Trump in any way?
I guess because I'm blonde and like,
Two white people, I guess.
yeah,
maybe
but they
could
were
be.
also two white people and
Two older white people, which is
Exactly.
even more his demo.
And then she's like, I don't even know how I got elected in the first place. And then we're all
Yeah.
like, woo,
Yeah.
hell yeah. And it was Jan that we were talking to, Jan of Jan's Place.
Yeah.
Quite nice. Anyway,
Jan.
it was all quite stupid. Matt, what about you?
Oh my God. I can't. Are you all right?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, what stupid things? I mean, I was on tour, as they say in America.
I was touring.
I was touring. This happened to me at one of my hotels because I went to like 6 different cities. I don't know how many cities I was in, but I went to Sacramento, which is the state capital, mind you, of California.
And apparently you're saying people call it Sacramento.
Well, I was in an Uber in Phoenix going to the airport. And he goes, where are you going? I was like, Sacramento. He goes, why are you going to Sacramento? I'm like, well, never been there, but this is a good start. Get there. Yeah, it's not a good city. It's very odd that, because Ottawa, Ontario, that's the capital of Canada, for God's sake. And it's gorgeous. They keep it very tight, nice.
Right.
There's
But
parts.
it's a state capital. State capital is different. So wouldn't that be like
Toronto.
Toronto? Yeah.
It's great. Also great.
Yeah.
I mean, parts of it are bad. But Sacramento as a whole, we were even driving around and I'm like, I can't find a decent section of this town. We even went to because every state capital has a state capital building. And they're all very similar looking, but they all have their own little. And the inside was nice, but the outside was being renovated, ripped apart. The whole park was just it was just a fucking mess. It was crazy. But I checked into my hotel there, and it was fine. It was one of those hotels where it's like, oh, something bad did happen here, but they put a spray on the wall. It was like I told you, it was like lipstick on a pig.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I got in my room. I was like, it smelled kind of weird. Whatever. The floor was a bit bubbly. And I was like, I got 2 days here. Whatever. Who cares? I go for a nap because I'm fucking exhausted. Wake up. Look at the ceiling. Big wet hole in the ceiling. A just moist hole.
Did the big wet hole make you think of me?
Yeah. I was like, God, I miss
Am I
my
right,
wife.
fellas?
I miss my fucking wife. So I was like, well, good thing I've been in this room for 2 hours, just sucking in this wet hole air that's been pouring out of this wet hole. I mean, this story actually has a better ending because I go down to the front desk and I'm like, hey, been in my room, big wet hole. I showed him a picture, and then the guy I was talking to is like the owner of the place. He goes, oh man. He's like, we just replaced the whole roof. He's like, I had my guys up there. And then he gave me like this 2 or 3 minute behind the scenes of what they did to the roof. And I'm just standing there staring at him. And he goes, oh, you don't want to hear this. And I just stood and didn't say anything. I'm like, yeah, in what universe do I want to hear about your fucking roof?
Tell me more about the guys.
Yeah. I was like, what were their names? What materials did you use?
How was his mom?
But I saw the frustration in his face. He's like, I can't believe there's a wet hole in the ceiling. I'm like, there's a wet hole. And so he's like, we'll get you another room. And I was like, a suite, like a nicer room. He goes, oh yeah, we're gonna give you like the nicest room for this. So he did. He gave me like, it was a whole other building. There's like this secret building behind the regular shit building, and it was beautiful. It was like a suite, very nice, no wet holes. The only wet hole was the toilet, and that's the one you want.
Yeah. You know, if there's a dry hole, that's a bad hole.
Yeah. So that was that. But I mean, another stupid thing that did happen, in my haste of gathering my shit, I left an external hard drive there, which I treasured.
has pictures of my big wet hole.
Big
on
wet
it.
hole. So it all came full circle. No, it's like a little hard drive, but it has like a bunch of like Final Cut Pro libraries on it. So I think your Golden Girls was on there. like just like the scenes and stuff like that. So if somebody ever finds it, they're gonna be like, it's gonna be you in a bunch of wigs, just Golden Girls.
Oh
wigs.
no, I'm naked in some of
you're not.
those.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
I
No,
am though.
No, though I made sure to delete those. There was
Okay.
one nude one. I have that on my phone, I think.
There's one where like Blanche is doing something with an OnlyFans, and then we pixelate my tits for the thing, but
Yeah.
for the footage, I had to be naked.
Either way, that was annoying. But they fixed my wet hole.
Imagine that's what leaks. My nudes leak. It's me dressed up as Blanche.
So, weren't you Sophia? I feel like you were nude as both.
I was nude as both.
Yeah.
Either way,
That's
me
the funniest
nude
way
as Sophia.
to get nudes leaked.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that was like one fucking dumb thing that happened, but it actually did all work out because that was like the worst of my run of hotels. I was like, this is the worst one. We're allowed to have one bad one, I guess.
Didn't you stay at one hotel in San Francisco, and it's like I booked it for you, and I was like, this is right in Union Square. It's new, it's lovely, but all the reviews are like, it's so small, and it's like, yeah, but you were there for one night. I think it was like 250 square feet or like 300 square feet.
Yeah, I think it was like $70 a night too. Like
No, it was like $100.
It was
but
barely
for San
anything.
Francisco Union Square, like
for right downtown, and that one was really weird because there was no front desk. There was just a computer, and you check yourself in.
it was
and then
just Chappie.
There's a car, just Chappie at the front desk. Oh yeah, you'll sleep here, Chappie. And then you go up to the rooms. It was the closest I've been to like a pod hotel because the room, you open the door and the door hit the bed because the bed's right there. And then it was clean, modern, but then I opened the window and then it's just a window looking into another person's sad pod.
Yeah.
And that was
And
it.
didn't you say you could like it wasn't that insulated? You're like, oh, at first I couldn't hear anything, but then there was one guy just taking the biggest dump of his life.
It was wild. I did my 2 shows at Cobb's and then came home and I'm like, I'm just literally going to fall asleep. And the second I hit the bed, I just heard shitting, like full shitting. Like it could have been next to the bed. I thought it was in the hallway. I was like, oh, they put a toilet in the hallway and there's a man shitting. And yeah, it sounded like he was having a really rough time. Or her. I don't know what kind of person it was, but it was a big, heavy dump late at night, which is an emergency one.
A late night dump's never good.
Yeah. And
You like to empty your big wet holes in the morning.
but they did seem embarrassed. They did it, and then they were like, oh, and I could hear them like tiptoe to their bed and then fall asleep. Anyway, it was nice. That's crazy that wasn't the worst hotel. It sounds terrible, but the like environment made up for it because it was one of those hotels you're like, I'm not spending my time in the room.
No.
I went
It's just
out
a place to
and
rest your
explored
big wet holes at the end of the night.
my big wet holes. Yeah.
I think that's going to be the name of this episode.
Big wet holes.
Yeah.
Probably going to get flagged on iTunes or something.
Or maybe it'll drive more traffic to it.
I just want to know what happened to that hole. It didn't look like it looked like something fell through the roof, like a meteorite or something.
Were you on the top floor?
I was.
Oh.
And I asked for that too because my hotel knowledge, they're like, do you want first or second? I'm like, I don't want to hear stompies above me.
Yeah.
So I'll go top because no stompies. But guess what? If you go top cheese,
You get a big
sometimes
wet
you get
hole.
a big wet hole.
I'd rather a big wet hole and be moved than stompies.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was a godsend because I loved my second room. It was fantastic.
There you go.
So
Oh, gosh.
when you check into a hotel, try to request a wet hole.
and
when
then
you're at
get, get mad at it.
Yeah. Can I get a room with a big wet hole in the ceiling? And
Hi,
then get mad at
it's too big, actually.
Yeah. And then they'll give you a nicer room.
All this talk about big wet holes is making me feel really warm and fuzzy.
Is it? Because that's weird. Sure. Yeah, me too.
So
wanna talk about
why don't
something
we
nice that
talk about
happened?
something nice that happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a big wet hole in my ceiling.
And that
And
was
I loved it.
nice. Yeah, I guess it's just I mean, yeah, San Luis Obispo was so super fun and it was nice, being together and having you open for me.
Yeah, that was cute. I kept telling people that. They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, featuring for my wife. She's the headliner. Also, we had the best goddamn dog sitter, Meg, our friend Meg.
Yeah, it was just like a perfect little weekend away in wine country. Okay, so the ultimate cutest. We went to, what was that winery called that we went to?
Wolf?
We went to Wolf Winery, which was amazing. Loved it.
Yeah.
And the woman found out we were comedians, and she was like that type of. Reminded me, like, I'd say she was a bit younger than our moms, but very much like, oh, you're comedians? Okay, I know they do comedy here. And then was like trying to help us like find
She became our
venues
agent
to
for
run
that
shows
afternoon. Yeah.
and stuff. I was like, oh, I'm like, I don't want to produce shows out here, but this is very cute. Yeah, and it was like a beautiful afternoon. And then the day before, we went to some other little winery, and the oldest man was taking care of us. He was wearing all pastels, like this cute little like Easter outfit. He had a little bucket hat on.
Yeah.
He was probably in his like late 80s.
You think late 80s? He was very old.
He was very old, but he had these old blue eyes that were twinkling. And every taster, because we did a little wine tasting, every taster he brought us, he gave us so much information. And we were both just like hanging on to his
I
every
know.
word.
He could have been saying anything. I don't know, but he was very confident and cute with it. Like we like a Pinot Noir. He's like, hey, the grapes are quite small. Those grapes very small. Those very thin skinned grapes. And then we're yeah, thin, tiny grapes.
And then he told us how he used to live in Vegas in the 60s. He's like, when it was just like dirt roads. I don't know. He's lived a fucking lush, full life. And every time he'd leave, we'd just look at each other and go, ooh,
I want to take it back with us.
it was a cute time. We had a really lovely dinner. The shows were fun. It was just fucking warm and goddamn fuzzy. And that's that.
That's that. That's the tea.
Matt, I feel like you have some extra warm and extra fuzzy
I
things.
do, yeah. So as previously mentioned, did go on tour with one Randy Feltface. We did 11 shows in 5 cities in 6 days.
Ooh.
And let me tell you, that level of touring is absolutely insane. And I only experienced 6 days of it. He'd already been on tour since January.
But he
So-
did say he's like, this particular chunk was like extra. It's
He said
usually
this-
not so much.
This chunk is extra intense, yeah. And it was so much that like I've been doing comedy a long time. I've done tours, of course, but yeah, never this intense. So much that the second day I literally was sitting on the edge of my bed being like, I don't know if I can do this. Like I remember my flight day 1, I woke up at 3 a.m. to get my like 5:30 a.m.
Yeah.
flight or something. I already felt crazy, and then did 2 shows that night on barely any sleep, and then woke up the next day to fly out early. And waking up the next day to fly out early after that first day, I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. But luckily, I stuck with it, and it was great. And Randy was so nice. I mean, the man as well, controlling Randy, was also very nice.
The man controlling Randy.
It's weird because I don't know if I'm supposed to say his real name in public because he's not a very public person. So I keep being like, oh, thank you so much, Randy for bringing me on tour. And I'm just
Yeah.
talking to a puppet the whole time.
Well, Randy the man and Randy the puppet.
Yeah.
He's just the fucking sweetest. And I mean, it made me feel warm and fuzzy watching you because your last show was at the Hollywood Improv.
Yeah.
And it was just, I got to like sit up in that little like upper area by the green room and look down, and you had such a good set, and Randy was just so sweet. And also everybody at the Improv was just the nicest. Like because it was like Friday night and you were opening for the headliner for Sold Out show, man, do they treat you differently.
That's what I kept saying the whole tour. I was like, I've never been treated so nicely by comedy clubs, either in Canada or here. This is absolutely insane. And this is all he knows. He's like, this is just how they are. I'm like, this is what a life to be treated so well. Every club we played, they were like, oh, can't wait to have you back, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I can't get a message from you, any of these
No.
places. And they're just like, oh, we love you, blah, blah, blah. And everyone was so nice. And I was able to sell merch, which I haven't done in so long. I just made little magnets that said, I love taking loud, hot pisses at Costco.
You
And
sold all of them.
I sold all of them, I think, in the second day.
Amazing.
And it was insane. It was just a very satisfying chunk. And then also, he's just the best. We got along so well. And
He's truly the nicest man.
cut to him on a podcast. He's recording right now. He's like, my fucking opener. Oh, he was so needy. No, it was just very nice. And yeah, being at the Hollywood Improv and being treated very well was
Also, I wasn't on the show, but I was just there. They treated me so well. And just like we were sitting there having like wine and we ordered something else. We ordered like, I don't know, spinach artichoke dip. And the manager's like, do you need anything else? We're like, no. He's like, I feel like you're lying. We're like, oh, we're okay. He's like, let me get you 2 more wines. We're like, okay.
Well, because when we first moved here, this is why it's so like full circle. Like no one knew who we were. We had to go to the open mics at the Improv and everything. We were slugging around, rebuilding our careers entirely. So now that we're like in the main room being treated so well, I was like, this is a win.
This is a win,
This
baby.
is a win for the little guys from Canada. We did it.
We did it, baby.
So it was very nice. I mean, and then also the second thing that happened this week that was very nice was the musical came back. The Fast and the Furious musical came back as well, which is also why I'm so exhausted. I'm still trying to not be tired.
You have had an extreme 2 weeks.
Went right to rehearsals for this musical, and boy howdy did it go off without a hitch. We had a new second act, and we were like, I hope people get this, and they did, and they loved it. And this is, I don't know, I think you can relate to this as well, but it's like when something's so nice like that, and I'm like, I really want to be here. How do I not fuck this up? That was what was in my head. I was like, I just want to be here so bad. And I started getting like anxiety attacks because I'm like, oh God, I really want to be here.
When you like things so much and you're like, how do I maintain this? How do I make the best of it?
Yeah.
And,
How do I? Yeah. It reminded me of like booking Just for Laughs the first time. The first time I didn't enjoy it at all because I'm just like, how do I come back? Oh my God. How do I get these people to like me and remember me?
You just gotta enjoy it in the moment,
you gotta
man.
enjoy it in the moment.
And I mean, I feel like we've been going through different things because I was feeling so hopeful for, my future and what could become with this Magic Mike stuff. And I still haven't heard anything. And I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, I'm assuming it's not happening and I got to live my life. Like I got to continue, moving forward.
It sucks when you really want something and people are like, you're perfect for this. And you're like, yes, I want it. But then you just have to be like, push it to the back of your brain and be like, in case it doesn't happen.
Yeah. And at this point, I ain't holding my breath, but I was like, okay, the show must go on. So I'm excited because I booked I booked my flight to New York because I need to go back to Ottawa to visit my family because I haven't seen them in it'll be a year in July. So I was like, but there's no friggin' direct flights to Ottawa. So I'm like, I'll go to New York first, visit Christina Walkinshaw, power listener. So I'm going to visit Walkinshaw and I'm booking on points. And then, of course, the points that I'm using, the fucking American Airlines doesn't fly to Ottawa. So, but then my friend's going to be at Just for Laughs and she's like, stay in my hotel room. So then I'm going to go to Montreal for a couple days. And then I'm going to take a train to Ottawa. And then I'm going to drive up to the cottage that my parents rent and just have a fucking little time.
Isn't that nice?
And who knows, probably right before I'm about to go, they're going to be like, you got the job.
Move to Vegas now.
We'll see. But it's just, hey, yay. It's never a dull moment.
Yeah.
I will say.
That's fun. Hey, that's fun. Hey. It's going to be a nice little solo trip, too. You don't have to worry about a big stinky husband or a little stinky dog. So you just get to...
As much I
slip and
really
slop
wish
around.
you, stinky husband and stinky little dog, could just transport up to the cottage, because
I know.
Shangela in the lake with her little friggin' life jacket on,
Yeah, she was chasing the little laps of the waves and having a nice time.
barking at the ducks. I am very excited to meet my sister's French bulldog, though.
Yeah, that'll be something.
That'll be something. Did we talk enough?
I think we did.
Good.
Yeah, we got to get our day started here. And
Yeah, I have to proofread what I wrote yesterday before I send it off to my agent.
yeah, I got to have a bit more coffee. I still feel hazy, mixed daisy.
I gotta empty my big wet holes.
Ew, back to big wet holes. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. We'll be back again, I promise. Where can they find you online? Julia
Find me online.
Find me.
Julia Comedy on Instagram, Julia Comedian on Facebook. And Is This What You Want podcast on Instagram, please.
Yeah, Matt O'Brien on Instagram, and the rest you can figure out. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll be back next week
We
with
love
more
you.
things. Bye-bye.
Is this what you want with Matt and Julia? Is this what you want with Matt and Julia? Is this what
Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la.